Hello, everyone. This is Carmine from New York, and I'm going to try and teach photography. This is volume 10. It's been 10 days in a row, and we're going to keep going because I love talking about photography, teaching photography, learning about photography, and taking photographs. All right. Few things before we get going. This is a message. Subscribe. Hit the like button. It's hard to say. What else? Comments are on. You can put a comment, and I'll try and answer it as fast as I can. You can email me, blackandwhitephoto@aol.com. Visit my website, carminetaverna.com. Nothing's for sale. This isn't a place to buy anything. I don't sell anything. It's just a place to look at my photos, thousands of photos. It lists the gear I used, the location, and the date. All right, let's get going. Yesterday, in volume 9, I talked about the medium format film camera, the Yashica D. It's a twin lens reflex. That's where it has two lenses. You look straight down. There's a viewing lens, and then underneath it is the taking lens. Okay, wonderful camera, made in Japan. But for you guys that have been watching every volume, you remember I always talk about the Ukrainian Kiev camera. The Ukrainian camera. And I love them. Okay, so today it's my pleasure to introduce the Ukrainian Kiev 60. The 4.5 pound all steel construction from the Ukraine. This beauty, this particular model was made in 1991. All right. And I love the system of the Kiev cameras because the first two numerals of the serial number is the year it was made. Everybody should do that. Nikon, Sony, Canon, everyone should use that system because you just want to know how old is your camera. All right, so let's go. This 4.5 pound Ukrainian camera is medium format. Look at the size of the back. It's pretty obvious how what size film this camera uses. Look at this. It doesn't even need an extra battery grip. The whole camera is the battery grip. Is the grip. There's no battery required for this camera. This is a fully mechanical, manual, single lens reflex, medium format, 120 size film camera. Okay. Yesterday I was talking about how the Yashica D, you have to be very careful. Once you cock the shutter, you can't change the shutter speed. This is the opposite. This, you must advance the film, cock the shutter, and then change your shutter speed. Otherwise, the springs and the gears will get bent, and you've broken your camera, and you take it and you put it in a garbage pail. Okay? Before the 60, the 60, this is the Kiev 60, right, was the 6C as in Charlie. That camera was very similar. The main difference that I could tell you about, see the shutter button, right? It's where it belongs. It's on the right side of the camera. In the Kiev 6C, it's over here. It's odd. It's very odd. When you've been used to 48 years of holding the camera here, right? It's bad enough that the shutter button isn't here on this camera. Here, that's fine. That's fine. It's on an angle also, which is nice because when you are pressing it, the pressure kind of brings the camera closer to your body as opposed to here, which the pressure is pushing the camera down. Okay. Now, this camera, one of the reasons it's 4.5 pounds of steel and glass. A lot of it has to do with this prism. This is a gigantic piece of solid glass under here. It's exactly this big. It's a humongous piece of glass. It's a prism. So when you're taking photographs, right, single lens reflex means what you're looking at goes through the lens, right, goes through the barrel, hits a mirror right here. The mirror is on an angle. It reflects the light up into the prism. The prism is designed so it hits the top, hits the back, hits the front, and goes into the eyepiece, and then you can see what you're looking at. Okay? There's me in there. There's my teeth. There you go. Okay. So, this camera is modular. This prism comes off, and you can get a waist level finder, which is a lot lighter. It's a pound less than this finder. You take this off, you put in the waist level camera, and now you can use it taking pictures like that. Okay? But the reason I want to show you guys this one is because it's more like a 35 millimeter, like a Spotmatic. Okay? Because you look through, right? You focus. You've got your light meter. See? Sekonic light meter. You set your f-stop. You set your shutter speed. And you take the picture. Look at the film advance, how far you have to go with it. Here's a little trick with older film cameras, whether it's medium format or 35 millimeter. Once you take the picture, listen to this shutter. Once you take the picture, remember, in here are hundreds of springs and little gears like a Swiss watch, or in this case, a Ukrainian watch. When you advance the film, okay, don't let go and let it snap back. Walk it back gently to the beginning where it belongs. Then take your picture. You don't want to end up with 4.5 pounds of junk. All it takes is one mishap. You let go. If this swings back and makes a gear go out of alignment, and then you're done. All right. So this uses 120 film. Okay. It opens up like no other camera. Okay. It has this button. Now, when you first, if you want to, when you get a Kiev 60, there's a button on the back, and the booklet says, by the way, the owner's manual, which is available for free from Butkus, right? You go to Google, you put in Kiev 60 owner's manual, Butkus, Butkus, and up will come this gentleman's website. And he has the owner's manual for this, the original owner's manual in English, okay? And it says how to open the back, right? Now, if you look, this is just a little button, and you would push it from here down. You could do that all day long, because that's what the book tells you to do. Take the button and just slide it down, slide it down. Well, that doesn't work. The booklet, the owner's manual, right? Maybe it lost something in the translation, but the translated English version from Russian fails to say that this button, you have to push it in first and then down. You have to push it in and then down. And then the back opens to expose a beautiful interior of the camera, right? Pressure plate. I did a whole segment on the pressure plate, how you want this clean, right? Beautiful fabric shutter curtain. Beautiful. Wind-up mechanism, right? Works perfectly, right? Look at the top. Right? Beautiful. Let's see if I can show you a shutter actuation. Okay, I'm going to press the shutter. It's on half a second. Let's see how nice this looks. Gorgeous. It sounds gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. Look at this. This camera came from the Ukraine. Now, I told you guys, don't be afraid to buy cameras from the Ukraine. The Ukraine. I didn't say Russian Federation. I didn't say Poland. I didn't say Lithuania. Ukraine. The Ukraine has real photographers who really care, who really know about these cameras, because the Kiev was made in Kiev, Ukraine. What's funny, a little side story, the Kiev line of cameras was made in a camera factory called the Arsenal. What did the Arsenal make? They made tanks and guns and cannons and bullets and bombs in the same factory. Those engineers, don't you think that they were asked about when they started to make cameras after they didn't need all those bombs and missiles and tanks and tractors anymore? Right? Don't you think that they were asked their opinion on how to build, right? Or at least the production techniques? Maybe that's why this camera weighs as much as a bomb. It's so heavy and it's so well built. When you hold this, you feel like you're holding part of a engine, of a diesel engine, like, I don't know, it's just incredible. Nothing gives. You could squeeze it, poke it, nothing gives. It's nearly solid steel in feeling. Okay? All right. This is the rubber lens hood. This is the original Ukrainian rubber lens hood. If you could feel this rubber, right, and this is supposed to be collapsible, it feels like it was made from a truck tire. Not in looks, but the way it feels. It's tough as hell. All right, we'll put this down. Of course, on the front, there's a Hoya UV filter to protect the lens. The lens is an 80 millimeter Ukrainian lens, f2.8. Gorgeous. This is a gorgeous lens. Okay? It's the photographs that this camera produces are just gorgeous. Oh, that reminds me. Let's look at an example. Now, what I'm about to show you, you're better off looking at them on my website. They're all listed. I'm going to show you how many. Oh, just this one. This picture that I took with this camera last month in New York. Okay. This is an example of a few things. This is an example of what you can expect from the Kiev 60. Gorgeous detail. Why? Because the negative is 6 by 6 centimeters. It's huge. Okay? Now, just a little bit of photographic technique. How did I take this? I used T-Max 100 film. That's black and white film. With the Kiev 60 camera. Now, this was a very cloudy day. Duh. But it didn't look like this. It was hard to see. You see here these black areas here and here and here. That's black. What makes it black? Well, in reality, that was a blue sky. What turned it black? Every time I go out in my camera bag, when I'm shooting black and white, I carry these red filters. I carry the same filter in yellow and in orange. And I take 3 photographs. One with the orange, one with the red, and one with the yellow. Now, A red filter in black and white photography will turn blue sky, black. And it makes the white clouds look like this. I love taking cloud photographs in black and white with the red filter. And this is something that I admired going back to when I was in high school and we would have to learn about Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams knew to use a red filter when there were clouds in a blue sky so you can see them and nearly feel them. All right? Another thing in this photograph, there's a few other things I want to point out. Number one, the horizon line, right? Rule of thirds. The horizon line is at the bottom third. It's not in the middle. Second thing I want to point out, leading line. This is a leading line. This line subconsciously draws your eye into the photograph and eventually up to the sky. Leading line, rule of thirds, red filter. There's a lot going on here. Let's continue. Remember I said in volume 9, there's really 3 formats of photographs, right? You've got landscape, you've got portrait, but you have this one. This is square. Square is neither portrait or landscape. It's square because the negative is square. You can make your 35 millimeter, you can frame it, you can crop it square, and it looks gorgeous. Look at that. I'm not bragging. I'm just pointing out that this type of photograph is what you're going to get with a square format, medium format, 120 film camera. Okay? Now, let's take 8 steps back and talk about light meters again. Okay? Every episode, somehow, I mention light meters, handheld, and one brand, and one brand only, Sekonic. Because I use them, not sponsored, not given anything by them. I use them. Okay. This is a Sekonic L508 Zoom Master spot meter. I paid over $300 for this, used on eBay from a seller. This is years ago. From a seller, over 100%, 100% credibility feedback with hundreds of feedbacks, right? Now, the reason I use this is because it gives you the opportunity to get an average of the whole scene. What do I mean? Very simple. Don't get confused or intimidated by buttons on a light meter and a screen and what the hell is going on here. No. I'm going to give you the easiest, simplest way to operate. In this case, the L508. When I took this photograph last month, right, I used this light meter. How did I use it? I took a spot meter reading. The 3 gives you 3, and then it gives you an average. This is what I did. I put the spot here on the darkest. You look through here. You look through this end. It comes out this. This is the say the front of the camera, right? This is the lens. This is the eyepiece. You look through, and I pointed the little tiny circle right here. You press the back button right here. You take that meter reading and you press the front button that says memory. Boink! That stores it. That's light meter reading number 1. Then I took the second light meter reading of the water, aimed it there, pressed the button, pressed the second button for memory, meter reading number 2. Then I took the third meter reading in the sky. I pressed the button, saved it into memory. This gives you 3 meter readings. And then, how simple can it be? You press the button that says average. You press the button, and there it is. This is just for argument's sake, okay? You change your ISO up here. You press the ISO button, turn the wheel. Let's say using 400 film, or in this case it was 100 ISO film. And there's your light meter reading. 2.8 at 350. Right? Oh, you want to close it down and get more depth of field, depth of focus? You just turn the wheel. F4 at 5.6. You want to use F8? You want to use F11? If you want to use F11, you have to shoot it at 30th of a second. Now, you're all good to go. You turn the dial, and as you turn the dial, it will give you the accurate meter reading, the accurate exposure. As you change this dial, it changes the f-stop, and look, the shutter speed is changing also. Now, to make the sky, the clouds pop, right, I used the red filter. Now, when you use a red filter, that's 3 stops. This absorbs 3 stops of light because it's pretty dark. So, let's say you wanted to use F11. No, sorry. Yeah, F11. Make it simple. Now, this is the right meter reading without the filter. You want to use the filter, so you have to increase by 3 stops, right? Now, you have to say in your head, I can't just move this down 3 stops. No. You have to keep the shutter speed the same. Okay? And then you would keep that at 30th of a second and go F8 is 1 stop, 5.6, 2 stops, F4, 3 stops. So you have to shoot the photograph, F4, leave your shutter speed alone. Okay? Think about it. You'll get it. All right, let me shut the power off. Okay, now, let's get back to this. If you want to get the L508, okay, used, today on eBay I checked, it's going for $370 plus $30 shipping from Japan. It's $400. He has 100% credibility, feedback rating, and 155 feedbacks. Okay. Now, the price of these used light meters has gone up. Okay? It's not like anything else out there that used prices go down. Photography equipment from Japan is going up, used. Now, here's what I'm getting at. The modern version of the L508 is the Sekonic L858DU. All right? That sells for $600. That's brand new in the box. $600. However, nobody has it in stock. Nobody has it in stock. Why? Because Sekonic and all other electronics from Asia are sitting in cargo containers on a cargo ship, which is anchored off of Los Angeles, and there's hundreds of ships because they're waiting to unload in Los Angeles because of the overwhelming purchases from Americans of products made in Asia. Because of the pandy whammy, people are home and they're either doing home improvements or electronics or making YouTube videos, and they need electronics, and nobody has any items in stock because they're sitting in the middle of the ocean anchored because the ports in California can only handle unloading so many ships a day. There are more ships than they have capacity for. So when you are in the market for electronics, and in this case a Sekonic spot meter, You're better off getting a used one for $400, right? You'll get it in 4 days. Now, yes, it's coming from Japan in this case. The cargo ships are not involved because the reason it's $30 shipping is because it goes into DHL, cargo, plane. Flying over the cargo ships. It lands, I think their hub is in Cincinnati, I think. And then you get it. From the day you order it to the day you get it, 4 days if they use DHL or FedEx. Okay? So $400 used eBay from Japan, and you get it in 4 days, or $600 brand new, and they're not in stock. This is what's happening. Okay? So let's continue talking about medium format. All right? Medium format is, believe it or not, a good place to start. Say, you don't have to start at 35 millimeter. You could. I did, because everything's a little cheaper. The cameras are cheaper. The lenses are cheaper. The cameras are lighter, right? It's a good place to start. The film, if you're going to develop it yourself, the film's a little bit easier to load on the reels in the developing tank, right? You get 36 pictures to the roll, or 24. In this case, 12. So it's a good place to start. But once you dabble into medium format, you're going to be like, oh, I see what everybody's talking about. I see the difference in my photographs. I see the difference in the contrast and the sharpness and the depth. There's a depth. I mentioned that you may not technically be able to explain what a medium format photograph is, but you just know it's somehow better than 35 millimeter. 35 millimeter is great. I've taken similar pictures with 35 millimeter cameras, but when you compare it side by side, you're like, oh, I see. There is a difference. Okay? Let's see. We talked about Sekonic. We talked about the Kiev, right? Don't worry about these cameras, buying them from the Ukraine. Okay? Like I said, you want to look like you buy anything else. You want to look for one that has the case. In some cases, today on eBay, they're selling them with the original box. Okay? And the camera. It's a set. The camera, the lens, the viewfinder. Sometimes it comes with a second viewfinder. The waist level, right? But bottom line, when you're buying a camera from anybody, whether it's the Ukraine or here in the United States, look at their feedback. And you know what I call it. I call it their credibility. You want to look for the guy that's got 100% and hundreds or thousands of feedbacks, because he's the guy that's been telling the truth and has not had a problem. Think about that. There are sellers right now that are selling camera equipment, and they have tens of thousands of feedbacks, and their credibility is 100%. Do you know what it takes to maintain that? Selling to all those people, that's the place to go. All right. What else can I say today? I wanted to make it nice and short. It's a half hour. Perfect. Oh, don't forget, please subscribe. All right. No pressure. All right. You can send a comment. Put a comment. I'll get back to you. Send me an email. blackandwhitephoto@aol.com. Go to my website. You can see these pictures from the Kiev, right? You can enlarge them and really see all the detail. Okay? That's CarmineTaverna.com. That's it for today. We're going a half hour. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Every day we're going to learn a little bit more. Maybe you guys that have been around a while, you're going to pick up something too. All right? 48 years experience, and a couple of times back, somebody put my feet to the fire and said, how much formal training, classroom training did you have? And I did the math. It's over 1,800 hours of formal training too. Okay. This freelance photojournalist from New York is saying, have a great day, have a great morning, have a great night, and if you can't sleep, watch this video. Maybe I'll put you to sleep. Take care.